Now we turn to the Engineer of the Year. John Ackerman is the president of Twin Oaks Water Systems, located in Hazel Township. Ackerman has a Bachelor of Science degree from Penn State University and has been licensed as a professional engineer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania since 1981. His professional career spanned over 40 years in the environmental engineering field, starting as an environmental engineer for Hazelden Pumps and progressing to various roles as a consultant in private practice, as well as the operations manager for Hazelden Can-Do Incorporated, an industrial development organization, before finding Twin Oaks Water Systems Incorporated. Some of Ackerman's past high-profile ASCE awards include the 1986 ASCE Zone 1 Daniel Meade Prize for Younger Members and the 2017 ASCE Innovation Contest Award for Best Value in Green Engineering. He was recognized as Young Engineer of the Year by the Coal Division of SME AIME in 1983 and by the Pennsylvania Society of Professional Engineers in 1986 as the Engineer of the Year by the Luzerne chapter of PSPE in 1993. He holds the title of Diplomat of Environmental Engineering since 1989, being board certified by AAEES, and was also named a Fellow of the National Society of Professional Engineers in 2005. John also owns several patents and published several papers in national and international journals. Giving back personally and professionally is paramount to Ackerman. He has served in different leadership roles in several professional and technical associations, including ASCE, PSPE, NSPE, PADEP, AAEES, AAES, and SME AIME. He has mentored and developed future engineers through STEM outreach programs at various high schools and the ethics program at Wilkes University, and has been a longtime volunteer for the Math Counts program. John serves on the board of the PAX and Tara Foundation and participates in the Greater Hazelden Empty Bowls program founded by his wife Margie along with other community organizations. Ackerman is married with 2 children, Matthew and Rachel. In his spare time, he and Margie enjoy hiking and biking on the various NEPA trails, Rails to Trails locations, and he serves as the Miller family historian, tracking all his cousins and searching for their ancestries and when they came over from Europe to America. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Engineer of the Year, John Ackerman.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the Lehigh Valley section for recognizing me as their 2018 Engineer of the Year. I've been offered the opportunity to make some remarks, and upon reflection, I realized, like a number of the others of you here, I'm old and I've solved a lot of problems. But it turns out my PE was actually in sanitary engineering. It doesn't even exist anymore. It's now the environmental engineering PE. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't willing to answer the call when asked to do things and advised to do things. For example, one of the first things my boss and mentor asked me to do as a young engineer was to join the Society of Mining Engineers and help represent the company. I did. I found that it opened up a completely new and diverse group of people that I could see beyond the workplace. I observed how they not only led the society, but also I got to know them and found out how they led their own companies. It also led to me networking with other people in industry, and by joining the SME at a young age, I added to my list of mentors. That's something you cannot have enough of. Another thing my boss stressed to me was to get my PE. At that point, I worked in industry. I didn't need a PE. I didn't see why I needed a PE. But I listened to him. I got my PE, and it worked out because 20 years later, the company was sold and my division was eliminated. At that point, I was able to go into private practice because I had my license. So take your fundamentals, all you students, take your fundamental tests now, get your PE. Give you that advice. Now, because professional registration is so fundamentally important for each engineer, it gives you the flexibility to not only advance within the profession, but it also allows you the ability to move from your current job when a better opportunity comes along. The traditional workplace is no longer the model, as most of you will change jobs several times during your careers. So be prepared for it. Now, joining and participating in technical and professional organizations as a young engineer also helps you, and it gives you opportunity to see many leadership styles, both good and bad. Take the good and put it in your toolbox so you can use it later in your career. And definitely remember the bad so you avoid using it. You know, the networking that results from being in places like SME, ASCE, and not just come to meetings, participate in the society activities. Because what it does, it gives you your introduction to other people, and they see your skills and abilities. I'll give you a case in point. I replaced Barry Isert as the Northeast Vice President of PSPE. He liked what I did when I was helping him govern PSPE, to the point he kept after me to go ahead and, hey, help. I want you to open up an office in Hazleton. I finally agreed to do that. You never know what you're doing and who's going to notice you. I really want to stress to our students and younger members to take these two recommendations to heart. Because even though I received them from my mentor so long ago, they're a fundamental part of why I am standing here in front of you over 40 years later. Now, I've been concentrating on the younger members and our students. You know, take that to heart. But I'm not forgetting the older members, because we're here to be the mentors to these young people. You know? Go ahead and help them out in the path as your mentors have helped you. Now, there are other concerns that we have to worry about. We see society has continued to advance at a rapid pace, and many times it appears to be outstripping common sense. Unforeseen technological problems keep cropping up. Politicians jump into action without forethought, just so they can say they're doing something to solve the problem. In many cases they fail, and many times they compound the problems. This leaves the general public with a sense of great uncertainty, because they don't have the background to understand the need to take the time to properly evaluate, dissect, and formulate a correct solution, as we're taught as engineers. So, they just want to solve it now. We have to tell them, no, it can't be. We have to figure out how to solve it. Is when we see this occurring. It's incumbent upon us as engineers and citizens to enter the public discourse and respond with an informed opinion on the subject matter. We must stress that problems cannot be fixed with a swoop of the magic wand, but require a thoughtful effort to formulate a solution. Now, in conjunction with this, I recently read an article by the Dean of the Arizona State Engineering Department. He referred to a Bureau of Labor Statistics analysis that said, and this is scary, there will not be enough engineers for all the available jobs by 2025, a short 6 years from now. Now, for you students, that's good. But it is scary. Now, with respect to these problems, I have two hard questions to ask all of you. First, how can we influence public opinion? And second, how do we find and train enough young people to join us in understanding the complexities of the modern world and be able to provide solutions? My answer to the first question is to take time for the engineering. It's time. We need to go back and take our historic position. You go back to Roebling and people like that. Everybody came to them for answers. We need to be able to provide these thoughtful solutions to the public. And more importantly than that, we have to be able to communicate them, not only to the politicians, but to the public. Let them know what engineers stand for and the thought process we put behind solutions. Now, I know it's not everyone here is comfortable doing that on an individual basis. That's where our local section here can help. You and your peers can discuss, meet, formulate a response to be able to present to the public. And in matters where you may go to a public meeting or write letters about it. One of the things I've been able to do over my career, especially with PSPE, I found that a dedicated task force of members can many times just cut to a core of a problem. You get a diverse group of people there. You look at the problem and throw all the ideas at it. This gives us the ability to take it, formulate a problem that then the whole section can be able to go ahead and get input on and come up with a good solution. Now, you know, I thought I was really innovative back in the 1990s. I went ahead and convinced PSPE to go to teleconferencing instead of having everybody trek to Harrisburg for face-to-face meetings. So nowadays we have internet conferencing. It's a hell of a lot easier. Let's make use of that. Now you may be wondering what's going on over here. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with my talk so far, but guess what? That's the answer to my second question. I was recently asked to talk to a high school STEM class about civil engineering. Now, I was unsure exactly how to present it to them, but I agreed to talk to them. And then under the gun, I decided, I guess the best way to do it is talk to them about the full breadth of civil engineering. Let them know all the things that we do. Then I went in particular with my environmental engineering background and talked to them about things I've done. But we need to develop the next generation of engineers, and I think the one way to do it is to expose students to what, you know, even as young as middle schoolers, to what an engineer does, how interesting it can be, have them meet an engineer, any one of you here, and tell them what we do and how interesting our job is. Now, my challenge tonight to each and every one of you here is to go out there and recruit students for the civil engineering profession. We need to replace ourselves. This is something I've become much more aware of as I'm approaching the end of my career. So what I'm doing is I'm going to offer this PowerPoint presentation as a template for anybody who's willing to accept this challenge. Take it, personalize it to fit yourself, and go tell your story. You know, let these children understand, hey, I'm not a bad person. I know what's going on with the world, and you know what? You can too. So let's expose the youngsters to what we do, how it relates to the world they see all around them. It's a world that was designed by engineers. Let's let them know the satisfaction we get from having a successful project. I know there's a lot of smart people in this world, so I hope this talk gets each and every one of you thinking and developing other ideas and answers to these questions. The more ways to address problems and recruit new engineers, the better our chance to solve problems and interest the next generation to enter engineering. We need to keep moving forward as a profession, and we are stronger as a section when we share ideas. Again, my thanks to the Lehigh Valley section for recognizing me as their Engineer of the Year. It's quite humbling. And thank you all. Good night.